In just a few moments, our runners will be getting ready to start this race. And here we go. We are underway. PanzerDave versus Dan H., the fourth week of the Swiss rounds in the Legend of Zelda Any Percent No Up+A tournament. Both runners, of course, will go to the start cave to pick up their trusty wood sword. Looks like PanzerDave is going to go for the world record route and begin with level 3. We have a divergence of paths. Dan is going to go for level 2 first. Now, level 3 is a little bit tricky when you're under power. You only have that green tunic and 3 hearts to work with, and you're dealing with dark nuts that take 4 hits from your wood sword, and they deal 1 heart of damage. And of course, you have Manhandla, where if you're not able to get the one-hit bullseye kill on him with your bombs, it's going to be tough. Speaking of tough, PanzerDave having some trouble doing the screen scroll here, and he's losing valuable time. Dan H. Going into level 2, and he is not wasting any time, not going to farm for any bombs or anything like that. Dave finally getting the screen scrolls as he enters level 3, and Dan H. going to be right behind him as he enters level 2. Of course, resource management means everything. You have to have enough keys to complete your run. You want to make sure that you have enough bombs for some of these dungeons that you're going to be entering, because we've seen it before already in the tournament where you go into a level and you don't have enough bombs. You're going to end up losing a lot of time because, well, you got to have those bombs to progress into these levels. Dan H. having no trouble with those gorillas. He still has 2.5 hearts. PanzerDave has 2 hearts. He has his set of 4 bombs. He's going to go ahead and pick up this key right here, and he'll make the head down. Dan H. going to try his luck against these land molas to get these this key here. PanzerDave is down to 1 bomb. He does get the last of the dark nuts and gets a bomb drop for his efforts. So very well played there by Dave. And he gets through the dark nut gauntlet as he's going to pick up his raft, which you need in order to get to level 4. And man, Dan H. getting all the cash from those ropes. And of course, ropes are a good source of money. They're one of the many enemies that are in the rupee dropping group. Dan H. having a little bit of trouble, and he's got to be careful. If he gets hit by another boomerang, he does get a heart drop, thankfully, so he'll get the maximum bombs. Let's see how he does against the Dodongo here. Oh, he missed with his first shot. He's trying to get the stun, but now he's just going to do it the easy way. Feed him 2 bombs quickly, stab him, and get your set of 4 bombs back. So, pretty good level 2 there for Dan H. Now PanzerDave is going to get ready to face off against Manhandla. 2.5 hearts. He wants to try and get the bullseye 1-hit kill. Let's find out if he does it. Nope, he gets 1 of the petals. Now he's got 1 more petal to go. Got him. Very good by PanzerDave. Wasn't the cleanest of fights, but it got the job done. He still got his bomb drop, and he'll get his first Triforce piece out of level 3. Looks like we might be having a little bit of trouble on Dan H's side. We will try to get that back up to speed as soon as possible. Dave, meanwhile, is going to head into level 4. Now, he may be going for the double 100 rupee secret route because he's got no rupees to his name. Now, depending on how many rupees you get in these dungeons will determine whether you go for the 2 30 rupee secrets or the 200 rupee secrets, because you have to have enough money to purchase a blue candle, or to purchase the wooden arrows, or to purchase the bait, which are all required items. Some people might do the red candle route and pick up the red candle in level 7. We'll see what the strategies are in mind when we get there, as Dan H. picks up the heart container here, which will give him 5 hearts, which is exactly the number of hearts you need to get the white sword. Dan H. does have enough bombs. Oh, he does get a nice bomb drop from those fires. I think he was able to force his count to 10. What we mean by that is if you kill 10 enemies in a row without getting hit, and you use a bomb for the 10th enemy, then you will get an automatic bomb drop, provided that the enemy is in a drop group. If it's not in a drop group, it becomes stored, and if you stab the next enemy that is in a drop group, then you will get a set of bombs. PanzerDave forcing another set of bombs from those fires. Now he's got the maximum 8 bombs. Now if you get 10 enemies in a row without getting hit, and you stab the 10th enemy, then you get a 5 rupee instead of a set of bombs. It looks like we do have Dan back up and running. Once we get both of our runners in sync, we can call the action again. Dan H is going to be heading into level 1. PanzerDave has picked up his ladder here in level 4. And Dan H, of course, doing the pirouette trick in level 1, where when you enter level 1 and exit level 1 and enter it again, that locked door that's in the north to start the dungeon will disappear, and you don't need to grab an extra key. It is faster to do it that way. Alright, and Dan H getting his key from those Stalfos here. PanzerDave getting all 10 rupees from the quote-unquote rupee boss. And Dan gets a lucky bomb drop from those gorillas, so he's got the maximum capacity of 8 bombs. Dan H gonna block clip through this staircase and pick up his bow, which you need not only to kill Ganon, but in order to kill the Goma coming up in level 6. Good use of the bombs there against those Vyres. No extra bomb drops for him. Now let's see how he does against this two-headed Gleeok. 10 wooden sword hits for the first head, 6 for the second, and every time you get hit, you lose 1 heart. So far, so good for PanzerDave. He's just about done with the first head, and he is still not taking any damage. Now he takes his first hit, but it looks like he's in good shape. That was a pretty good Gleeok fight. Plus, he's going to get a fairy, which is going to mean no refill for PanzerDave. So, pretty good level 4 there by Dave as he gets his second Triforce piece. Dan H, meanwhile, is going to go ahead and pick up the wooden boomerang, which could be very beneficial because it stun locks your enemies. Very useful against perhaps the Lionel when you pick up your white sword, or very useful against Dig Dogger segments because they count as a normal enemy. So most people would avoid getting the wooden boomerang in a race situation like this, but I kind of like Dan H's play because you just never know when it might bail you out. Dan H has 6 hearts, and he's just picked up his second Triforce piece in level 1. And speaking of level 1, that is where PanzerDave is going to head next. He was probably trying to go for a lucky bomb drop from that blue Ock drop, but he decided against it. He still has 5 bombs, so he's in pretty good shape. Dan H did pick up the white sword, so he will now do 2 hit points of damage against enemies. So those blue Octoroks, those red Moblins, they'll go down in just 1 hit. Dan H going to pick up this 30 rupee secret. He's up to 124 rupees. I would gather that he's going to try to gather 140 rupees to purchase the bait and the wooden arrows. Next up, he's going to head for level 3. Yeah, Random Effect making a good point that Dave might have been just trying to build up his count because now he does have the maximum of 8 bombs. Dan H going to try his luck now in level 3. He'll have 6 hearts, so he could take a little more damage than Dave did, but he also does not have the blue ring. So again, he's going to lose 1 heart every time he gets bopped by a dart nut, as we see PanzerDave picking up the bow here in level 1. All the money in the world. Of course, Zols are in the money-dropping group, so you're going to see a lot of 5 rupees come from those Zols. Dan H looking pretty good in the money counter. He's got 5 keys and 7 bombs. Dave's got 3 keys and 7 bombs. Now, I would imagine Dave is not going to kill those gorillas to pick up the wooden boomerang. He's just going to go straight for the Wallmaster room, pick up that key, and then make his attempt against Aquamentus. Let's see how Dan does against those Dark Nuts. That was a good bomb shot right there. And with his white sword, those orange Dark Nuts will go down in just 2 hits. Dave picking up his key, no problem there. Let's see what kind of strategy he takes against the Aquamentus. Going for the bomb strat. It'll do 4 hit points of damage. 2 more wooden sword hits, and down goes Aquamentus for his Triforce out of level 1. Dan H has just picked up the Raft in level 3, and he's got all 6 hearts, so he's looking pretty good here in level 3. I would imagine PanzerDave's next move will be to go into level 5. Now, looking at his money count, he's only got 18 rupees. The world record route, you want to try to have 60 rupees, purchase the blue candle, and then go into level 5. But my guess is that PanzerDave is going to take the red candle route. Dan H is just about ready to go against Manhandler. Let's see how he does. Can he get the one-hit bullseye? Nope, only 3 4s. But he does get him in 2 hits, so just like Dave, a pretty good manhandle fight. He gets the extra set of bombs. He's got the maximum 8 going into level 4. Very nicely done there by Dan. Dave getting the heart container out of Monocle Rock. He's currently up to 7 hearts. And yeah, you're making a good point. There's a chance Dave might go into level 2 next instead of level 5, which is not an uncommon route by any stretch of the imagination. First of all, Dave is going to go ahead into the raft location in Northeast Hyrule and pick up this heart container. He's now up to 8 hearts. Dan, meanwhile, is on the way rafting into level 4. He's got plenty of bombs. You need at least 2 bombs in order to complete level 4. He's got the maximum, so Dan's in really, really good shape. Dave going to do the screen scroll here, and it does look like he is going to head for level 2 first before he goes into level 5. Dan H getting a ton of money from those Zols. He's got 7 keys and 8 bombs to his name. And Dave indeed is going to head for level 2, and we will see how he does. He's got plenty of health, so shouldn't be too much trouble. Dan H getting a nice clock drop from those Vires, and he does not get a lucky bomb there. Maybe he was trying to force his count to 10, but is not quite at 10 right now. Another clock drop! What a time to get a clock drop in the magical breakfast room. Well, not the magical breakfast room. That's in level 6. This is just the plain old breakfast room. You've got your pancakes, you've got your jelly, and you've got your eggs. That, of course, is your likes, your Zols, and your bubbles. So, very nice break there by Dan H as he goes ahead and picks up his ladder. Meanwhile, PanzerDave, he's getting a clock drop. Man, clocks for days. Of course, he doesn't need that clock. Ropes are pretty easy to tangle with, so you're not typically going to pick up a clock drop unless it's, you know, right on your feet. Dave having a little bit of trouble with these Maldorms, though, but he does take them down, and he'll get his key right there. Dave, more clocks! I've seen more clocks in this game than I've seen in probably a couple of the last randomizer races I've called. This is insane. Dave and Dan getting all the clocks here. Dan was able to get a bomb from those Vires, but having just a little bit of trouble here. And is he going to use the boomerang? Yeah, he's going to use the boomerang to take down the rest of these red keys. Last one being a little bit evasive, but he does finally take him down. And with 5 hearts to go, he'll go up against Gliok. Dave getting the Triforce out of level 2. He's currently got 4 Triforce pieces with his white sword. It's going to be a much quicker fight. Pretty good Gliok fight there by Dan H. Very little refill for him. 5 white sword hits for the first head and 3 white sword hits for the second head. Very good job by Dan. They are level pegging right now because they both have 4 Triforce pieces. Dave, of course, is going to have the lead, but it's not that big of a lead right now. At this point, I'd say it's anybody's game at this juncture here. Both have 4 Triforce pieces. Dave is going to go ahead, and it looks like he's going to go for the double hundo route. He's going to get this 100 secret that is right here in the northeastern part of Hyrule above this money-making game cave here. Dan, with his 154 rupees, is going to go on a shopping spree. He'll purchase this bait for 60 rupees, which is what you need in order to feed the Hungry Gorilla in level 7. Then he's going to go into this shop and purchase the wood arrows to go nicely with his bow for 80 rupees, which is what you need to kill the Goma in level 6. Dave getting a 5er from that Tektite there. He's going to go into this cave, and no, he's not going to pick up the blue candle, so looks like Dave is going to go for the red candle strats in level 7. He's going to level 5 right now. That was a nice screen scroll there. So level 5 here is definitely one of the big gatekeepers in the speedrunning because you've got Gibdos that take away 2 hearts, but the big enemy that really likes to destroy runs are the blue dart nuts. They take 8 wooden sword hits, and you lose 2 hearts every time you get bopped by them. There's a room coming up that the community loves to call the Room of Requirement. Here's this first blue dark nut room. There's 5 dark nuts, but if you can do this block clip, you don't have to tangle with them. Because again, they take 8 hits or 2 bomb drops. Coming up, he's got 6 bombs to work with, so Dave has plenty of resources. 6 blue dark nuts, and again, they each have 8 hit points. So far, so good. Now, the good news about blue dark nuts is that they are in the health drop group, and Dave, able to force a bomb drop from those dark nuts. He was able to get that counter to 10 because normally blue dark nuts do not drop bombs. Instead, they like to drop plenty of hearts and fairies. Dave making good use of the bombs there and his counter as well. Get to that 10, get that extra set of bombs. Almost a perfect room. He does get bopped by that last blue dark nut in the end, but nevertheless, he still has 9 hearts to his name. That's the same total that Dan H has, and based off his rupee count, he's going to go ahead and do this screen scroll right here, and he's going to go ahead into level 5 himself. Again, Dan H not far behind PanzerDave right now. Any death by PanzerDave will put Dan into the lead. This is a pretty good race right now. Dan H with 6 bombs, I would imagine, is not going to take this bomb from the Gibdo right now. He'll pick it up on the way back, which is exactly what PanzerDave did. He'll get his bombs from his Gibdos. Taking a little bit of damage here. He's at 5 hearts right now. Still in decent shape, but still got to be careful because Dig Dogger takes a lot of hits because their segments take 8 hits as well. So it's 8 wooden sword hits. He's likely going to use 1 bomb because after level 5, you would imagine that PanzerDave is going to head into level 7, and you need at the very least 5 bombs to complete level 7, but optimally in the speed run or in a race situation like this, you want to have 7 bombs. Dave looks like he's trying to build up his counter here, and he gets an extra 10 rupees for his efforts, trying to force that bomb count. And yes, we do make a good point. PanzerDave has yet to make his wooden arrow and bait purchase, so Dan H will gain some more time. Very good room of requirement there by Dan H. And again, with his white sword, even if he doesn't use bombs, he'll go down in only 4 hits as opposed to the 8 wood sword hits. So, very good by Dan H. He still has all of his health. Let's see what Dave has in mind against Digdar. Is he going to go for the double bomb, or is he going to go for 1 bomb? It looks like he's going for the double, but he misses. Ooh, and this could get ugly, folks. He needs 4 more hits. 3, 2. He's down to 2 hearts. He's got to be careful, folks. 1 more hit. Got him. Oh, dicey fight there by PanzerDave, but he does take the Dig Dogger down, and he'll get his Triforce out of level 5. A very dicey Dig Dogger fight there by Dave, but he does get the job done, and more importantly, he does not take the death. Next up, Dave is going to head into level 7. Before he does that, he's going to make these purchases. He warps to level 3 next, so it looks like he's going to make the purchases to the right. I might have warped to level 4 to do this. And Dave only has 2 bombs. Ah, I see why he warped to level 3. He's going to go against these blue moblins, and he does get his all-important bomb drop right there. So I think that's the reason why he warped to level 3, is because more opportunities to get bomb drops from these moblins and blue Octoroks. They are in the bomb-dropping group, and unfortunately doesn't get another bomb drop. He does get a 5 rupee from that blue Octorok, meaning that count was at 10. Let's see how Dan does against... That was a good fight, and of course with the white sword, just needs 1 bomb and 2 white sword hits. A much more cleaner Dig Dogger fight for Dan as he picks up his Triforce in level 5, and now it's time for PanzerDave to go on his shopping spree. He'll get his wood arrows right here, then he'll go to the shop to the north, purchase his bait. Again, you need that to feed the gorilla that's in level 7, and I'm telling you, Dan H may be about to take the lead here. This is close. PanzerDave doing that tricorder trick to get rid of the puff of smoke that you would see when you go into that shop with the bait, and it also saves him a whistle blow afterwards when he is done with level 7, level 8. So Dan H is going to be the first into level 7. So Dan right now does have the lead. It's a very, very small lead to be sure, but Dan H does currently have the lead on PanzerDave. I tell you what, Dan has run a really, really good race. He is the underdog in this race against PanzerDave, but Dan H currently holding his own right now here as we have both runners now entering level 7. Kind of a tricky room here with these blue gorillas. They take 6 hits. You've got these bubbles in the way. Every time you get hit by a bubble, you're going to lose your access to your sword for about 5 seconds. And Dan H is able to slip by that Dig Dogger. Dave can use his wood arrows, but every time you use an arrow, it costs you 1 rupee. Wood arrows do 2 hit points of damage, and some enemies will not be affected by wooden arrows, including Darknuts and Wizrobes. Dan H going to feed the bait to that hungry gorilla, and he can proceed. PanzerDave, though, right behind them. This is literally coming down to seconds at this point. Now, I don't know if Dan H got the blue candle. I'm guessing he didn't, so both players are going to get the red candle behind that diamond-shaped staircase. That is the item in level 7. Now, the blue candle, you can only fire that candle once on the screen, and then if you want to fire it again, you have to go into a different screen. And it looks like Dan H is going to go ahead, get this red candle, and PanzerDave's going to be right behind him and pick up his red candle. With the red candle, you can fire it as many times on the screen as you want, but only 2 shots can be on the screen at once. You have to have the candle in order to gain access into level 8, which will be coming up a little bit later on in this race. And both of these players right now are neck and neck. Of course, Dan and PanzerDave have to keep in mind that they have to have enough bombs in order to complete this segment. Now, let's see what Dan H decides to do against this Dig Dogger. And PanzerDave right behind him. Let's see if he uses boomerang strats or if he uses the traditional bomb strats. Going for the boomerang, trying to stun him. That's exactly how you do it. And that's what the boomerang can do for you against the Dig Dogger. That was well played there by Dan H. This is a tie race right now between these 2 runners. They are side by side as we go into this very deadly reverse C room with these wall masters and bubbles. There are 5 wall masters here. You do not want to get plucked by the wall masters because you go all the way back to the start of the dungeon. This is where a red candle or the bow and arrow really is going to come in handy. And Dan H using the arrow strats, PanzerDave using the red candle strats, and this is going to allow PanzerDave to take a little bit of a lead, but it is really neck and neck. They are literally side by side here in level 7. I'd love to see this keep up throughout the rest of the entire race. Boy, oh boy, PanzerDave slipping to a little bit of the lead. Dan H trying to get some bombs from these gorillas, but at this point he decides, nope, I'm going to go ahead and take down this Aquamentus. Dave has the wood sword. Dan H has the white sword, so Dan going to gain a little bit of time, but they are literally within about a second of each other as they pick up the Triforce in level 7. What a race we've got going on, but Dave is going to get a bit of a lead on Dan because Dave had no refill, while Dan had quite a bit of a refill. So Dave is going to take a little bit of a lead on Dan, but this is still a really, really close race. Dan really needs the screen scroll right here, and he gets it. Very nicely done by Dan to stay on pace with PanzerDave. So both of these runners are going to go into the graveyard here. They're going to push this stone right here, as Dave has just done, and pick up the magical sword, which you need 12 hearts in order to pick it up. By doing so, you're going to do 4 hit points of damage for every time you strike an enemy. So those blue Darknuts, they'll go down in just 2 hits. Of course, we're not dealing with Darknuts in level 6. No, we're dealing with Wizrobes. And since neither one of these players has a ring, every time they get hit by a blue Wizrobe beam, they're going to lose 2 hearts. But you really do not want to get hit by an orange Wizrobe beam because you're going to lose 4 whopping hearts. Neither player has a key going into this level. Oh, Dan getting a lucky bomb drop from those Wizrobes, killing the Master Wizrobe that will finish off the other Wizrobes that are in that room. So Dan getting a break there. He's now got more bombs than PanzerDave. First magical breakfast room. Let's see how Dave does. So far, so good. But he does Does get a little beam to the face by one of those blue Wizrobes. Still, that was a very, very good magical breakfast room. The pressure's going to be on Dan H. Takes a bop from that blue Wizrobe. He still has plenty of health. Not as crisp of a breakfast room as Dave has, so Dave's going to increase his lead right here. But still, Dan H managed to keep plenty of his health. He's at 8.5 hearts. Dave's currently sitting on 9 hearts, and he's got the maximum number of bombs, so he's sitting pretty in that department as well. Dave going to make his bombs go to work and tackle this second magical breakfast room, and he gets a fairy drop. He gets his beam sword back. Wow, the rich get richer. Dan H has the maximum number of bombs, and he's sitting on 9.5 hearts. Let's see how he does against this second breakfast room. Let's see if he can gain some time on PanzerDave. This is looking like a pretty good second magical breakfast room for Dan H. He took down everything quickly, and he kept all of his health. In fact, he's now up to 10.5 hearts. Dave still has the maximum number of hearts. He'll get some bombs from those fires, and he'll pick up the key there. Now, he's got to be a little bit careful. I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. He's only got 4 shots with his arrow to take down this Goma, but he does so on the first attempt. He'll pick up his heart container and get the Triforce out of level 6 with no refill at all. That was a pretty good level 6 for PanzerDave, and this has been a pretty good level 6 for Dan H as well. He's not going to be too far behind. Takes a couple of shots, but he does manage to still one-cycle the Goma. Dan H's refill will not be too big at all. This is still a race, ladies and gentlemen, and it ain't over till it's over. Next up is going to be level 8, and level 8 can really prove to be a doozy for both of these players because those blue dart nuts, they are back again. So PanzerDave with the red candle in hand, he's going to get to this screen that's got a dead-end bush. Secret is at the tree at the dead end. That's a hint that you see somewhere in the overworld. Going into level 8, we have 2 blue dark nut rooms that the community loves to call the Blue Lagoon rooms. Hopefully, Manhandler being a troll handler for PanzerDave, and he can't even one-hit knock him out, but nonetheless, he does get by him. Now, here's the first of the Blue Lagoon rooms. 5 dark nuts. 2 magical sword hits is all it takes, but again, you're going to lose 2 hearts every time you get bopped by him. Dan H also having a little bit of trouble with Manhandler, and now he's in the blue dark nut room. Very good job by Dave. Pressure is going to be on Dan to keep up. Dave having a little bit of trouble with the bubbles in the second room. Here's the second Blue Lagoon room. Now we're dealing with 6 blue dart nuts, and he's going to try and tank it here. He's going to go as fast as he can. Again, they're in the health drop group, so they do love to drop lots of hearts and fairies. Dan H is going to be right behind him. We'll see how he does. Good job there by Dave against Blue Lagoon level 2. He still has about 7.5 hearts to his name. Again, the pressure's going to be on Dan H to keep up. So far, so good. He's only got a couple more dark nuts to take down. One more hit on this last one. Being a little elusive here. Does finally manage to take him down. Dave going to have plenty of health against this 4-headed Gleeok. 3 hits for the first head, 2 hits for all the other heads. That's a total of 9 hits with the magical sword. He's just going to tank it. Very good Gleeok fight there by Dave. He still has 4 hearts left to go. So now he's got all 8 Triforce's pieces. He will be eligible to go into level 9. Now let's see how Dan does against this same 4-headed Gleeok. Dave's going to have quite the refill because he only had 4 hearts left, but I think Dan's going to have the same kind of scenario here. In fact, his refill is going to be a little bit bigger because he only has 3.5 hearts. Both these runners are going to have 13 hearts going into level 9. Dave's bomb situation could be better. He's at 5 bombs, which means he may need to hope for a lucky bomb from this blue Octorok, which he does not get, or he'll have to take down Patra 1, which is going to slow him down. This is still quite a race right now. PanzerDave has the lead, but Dan H is about 30 seconds behind him or less, so it is not over yet. And the Rock Spawns, the Rock Spawns are not doing Dave any favors right now. Oh, and Dan getting a lucky bomb drop from that blue Octorok. Now, he is going to go to the south, and he's going to pick up this potion, which could come in handy for Dan H, because should PanzerDave take a death in level 9, this will enable Dan H to sneak in and possibly pull away for the victory. So, Dan H is behind. He's going to take the potion in the hopes that Dave falters in level 9. So, here we are in level 9. Wizrows and pancakes and fires and gels and more bubbles and these land molas that we're going to be coming up. We're only going to see one. You've got the slow red land molas that take away 2 hearts of damage. Then you have the fast blue land molas that also take 2 hearts of damage. But luckily, these are the only land molas you see, and they're really not much of a factor if you can do that block clip to get through that staircase. So Dan H going to be right behind PanzerDave, and it is right now anybody's race. And the way Dan's been going, he may put up a tournament race PB right here. It has been a pretty good run for both of our runners. They have been clean. They have not taken any deaths. And it's going to come down to level 9. PanzerDave with his 6 bombs does not need to deal with the Patra. He was able to get an extra bomb drop. Looks like Dave is roughly 45 seconds ahead, so Dave keeping all of his health, and he does get bopped by that blue Wizrobe, but he'll get 1 of his hearts back. You want to try to keep the beam sword for as long as possible. Dan H taking care of these like-likes here in the spiral staircase room. Dave going to get back his beam sword as one of the Zols gives him a heart drop. So now he's got the maximum 13 hearts again. Now here comes Patra number 2, which can be very, very trolly because you got to do this block clip. And, oh, he does take a bop from that Patra, and he may decide to try and kill it. That's exactly what he's going to go ahead and do, which won't be too much of a problem with his magical sword. The final part of Patra takes 3 hits, and he does take down Patra 2, so now he doesn't have to worry about it again once he emerges from this staircase. So here we are in this room right here. You're going to bomb to the north. You're going to come into this reverse C room. And you want to try and take down these blue Wizrobes. And, oh, he does take a bop from that orange Wizrobe. That's going to cost him 4 hearts. Now, the good news for Dave is that the bubbles are leaving him alone. So this is going to end up being a fast reverse C room for PanzerDave. But that taking that bop from that orange Wizrobe is going to cost him some hearts. So he's down to 7 hearts. Does get the silver arrows, which is what you need to kill the beast. Dan H trying to do the block clip and sneak past this Patra, which he does. He still has his beam sword. So Dan going to be right behind PanzerDave as he's going to pick up his silver arrows here. He's got to clear this reverse C room. We'll see how Dan does here. He's got full health. And he gets a clock drop! Whoa! What a break by Dan H! That's amazing! He gets a clock drop in the room you definitely want to get a clock drop in. So that's going to end up being an even faster reverse C for Dan. Man, what amazing luck there that Dan just picked up in the reverse C. Unfortunately, he does take a bop from that Keese before he picks up the silver arrows, but Dan's in pretty good shape right now. Tell you what, he may not have needed that potion, but sometimes that's just how it works. You buy the potion, now he's playing the level 9 of his life right now. Now, Dave has to be careful. He is down to 3 hearts. He cannot survive a high roll driver. If he gets hit by Ganon during the fight, he is down for the count, and Dan H will indeed slip past him for the victory. Dan is going to take down this Patra too because, unfortunately, Patra's in the way, and he does take 1 bop from that Patra, but he's still in good shape in the health department. Meanwhile, Dave's in big trouble now. He's down to 2 hearts. If he gets hit by Patra, he's out, and he'll have to go back to start. Dave was probably hoping for a heart drop from those Zols, but he ended up getting nothing. Now, Dave, his rupee count's at 1. He's got 1 rupee left. You need 1 rupee to take down the beast. If he kills Ganon and he misses his shot with the arrow, Dave's done. This is a crucial situation. Dave needs to play this very, very carefully. Dan H is right behind him. He will bomb right here. But he does take a beam to the back by this blue Wizrobe, and Dan H has got plenty of health. And ladies and gentlemen, here's Ganon. We need 4 hits from the sword. Oh, and Dave did get a fairy drop from the Patra, so now he can survive a high roll driver, but he gets a good pattern. There's 2. Could not get the stun lock. And 3. Needs 1 more hit on Ganon. 4. Does not miss with his arrow. We've got Bacon. He gets the Triforce of Power. And PanzerDave is going to barely snipe Dan H in this race. Well played by PanzerDave. He goes to 3-1, and Dan H is going to be right behind him. Let's see how he does against Ganon. Boy, what a close race. Ooh, he takes a high roll driver there, and he's going to play it safe and pick up this potion, because even though Dan didn't win the race, he's going to put up the best time of his tournament so far. And it's a good thing he drank that potion. He took a high roll driver. That would have killed him. He does get the 4 hits on Ganon. He'll go ahead and pick up the Triforce of Power, and Dan H is going to finish this race about 35 seconds behind PanzerDave. What a good race for both of these runners. Let's see those GGs for both of our competitors here today. And that is going to be a PB for Dan H. His time on speedrun is 35 minutes, 11 seconds. He's posted a 35:06. That is a PB for Dan H. Congratulations to him. What a good run he posted right there. And I'll tell you what, if he wouldn't have gotten high roll driver, he would have posted a sub 35. So Dan H. playing one heck of a race today. Just wasn't quite good enough to beat PanzerDave, but still, give it up for both of our runners. They put up a heck of a performance today. We'll see if we can get an interview with anybody in just a moment. All right, and it looks like we do have PanzerDave in the commentator's booth. Dave, congratulations on your victory. Did you expect it to be this close? Looks like we might be having a little bit of technical difficulties here. Dave, can you hear me? I see you flickering, but I cannot hear what you're saying. Try to go in and out again if you can. All right, we have Dan H in the commentator's booth. Dan, can you hear me?
Is this better?
That's much better, PanzerDave. PanzerDave, congratulations on your victory today. Boy, I tell you what, it was a nail-biter. And in fact, Dan actually had a little bit of a lead on you going into level 7, and it was pretty much a virtual tie going out of level 7. Boy, did you expect this race to be this close, Dave?
Yes, as soon as I had to change routes, I knew it was going to be a couple minutes added on to me, and I know Dan's a very solid runner, and I was like, I just gotta play good.
Yeah, you played very, very well. Neither one of you took a death in that run today. In fact, Dan H., congratulations on your PB. What a performance you put up right there. And then if you wouldn't have gotten a high roll driver, you'd have had a sub 35. I mean, that was a really, really good run by you today, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I had my typical robotic combat for the most part, but probably the big difference here was my screen scrolls. They were pretty on point the entire time. And then that level 9, the 2 clocks that dropped just instantly in 2 of the toughest combat rooms. I mean, when does that ever happen?
Like never. That was amazing. Yeah, I was quite amazed when you got that instant clock in the reverse C room, and that pretty much made this a race. Now, Dave, you were in some trouble in level 9. You were taking a lot of damage. You were down to just 2 hearts from you were down to your last 2 hearts against the last Patra. So you had to play it very, very conservatively, and you were fortunate enough to get a fairy drop from that Patra. So go over the level 9 with us.
Level 9 started out okay. I was like, okay, cool, we got the Patra skip. I don't know where the heck my count went, and I was like, well, just assume it's there. And then Patra 2 hit me once, had to kill it. Reverse C room, I didn't have a lot of bombs. I could use 1 bomb, which I used pretty well, I think, because it nailed me 3 hits on a blues. But then I took a red Wizrobe beam to the butt because they all spawned on the right side.
Yeah, that was a very tough break right there. Yeah, sometimes you get those bad Wizrobe spots, and there's just nothing you can do to avoid it. And at that point, things were starting to look dicey for you. But you played it cool. You didn't let that bother you. You got the lucky fairy drop from the Patra, so you were able to. So you had some wiggle room against Ganon, and your Ganon was pretty good.
Let's talk about that fairy, because that was not lucky. That was actually the Hippo fairy. My count was 7 going into the Patra, so once I kill the Patra, it will drop a fairy. Ah,
very, very interesting. Because, yes, the drop for fairy is 16. So there are 8 of the eyes that are floating around the Patra, and then the Patra itself counts as 1. That's your 9. 7 and 9 are 16 equals a fairy drop. Yep. That's very, very clever of you, Dave.
So that's why I was killing things in that room. Like, I just need to get my count to 7, and then I should be able to force the fairy here. And I absolutely had to.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the rule of 16, where if you get 16 hits in a row and don't take damage, you get a fairy drop. So, yeah, that was pretty clever. I thought you were trying to get a heart drop from the Zols, because I'm saying to myself, oh, if he takes 1 bomb from Patrick, he's done for, and this is over.
Yeah, it was definitely scary.
I can imagine, but you did persevere. Very respectable time, a sub 35.
Yeah, anytime I get a sub 35, I'm thrilled, because, like I said, I don't play this game as much as I used to, so I don't practice for the races. I just go and play and hope for the best. Hope my combat just picks up.
Well, absolutely. Dave, congratulations on your victory this afternoon. That means you now go to 3-1 in the Swiss tournament. So if you win your next match next week, you will be guaranteed a spot in the bracket stages. So congratulations on your victory, Dave. Best of luck to you in your next race.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Laws. Thanks for commentating for us, and thanks, Fiesel, for having us.
You're quite welcome. Dan H., I'll tell you what, a very good race for you. Not only a race PB, but a PB in general, so congratulations on that. So that'll definitely lower your average race time a lot. You do go to 2-2, so if you could put up a good race potentially in your next match next week, you might still have a chance to sneak into the bracket stages. So, Dan, I hope this is something that you can build on in your next race. You played one heck of a race today. Congratulations on a well-performed race, and I wish you the best of luck in your final match in the Swiss tournament.
Hey, thanks, Laz. I'm not really sure too much about how that chance to get in the bracket stage is. That forfeit in round 2 pretty much nixed any chance that I had at that. But anyway, I mean, I'll probably get my typical 37. High 36, low 37 time, like I always have been. This one was probably a fluke, and Lord Banana. All
Yeah.
hail.
Oh yes, Lord Banana did do wonders for you. That was an amazing Dig Dogger fight you put up in level 7, using the wooden boomerang to stun the 3 segments. That is a very good strat. I enjoyed it a lot. Congratulations. And hey, at 3506, that puts you in the top 50, by the way. That puts you right up there with V Resner, who also has a 3506. So congratulations on that.
All right, sweet.
All right. Once again, give it up for PanzerDave and Dan H. Make sure you give both of our runners today a follow. They put up a tremendous fight today. So that's going to do it for me here on Speed Gaming 4. Let's take a look at the rest of the schedule because we do have many more Zelda races coming up right here. Take a look at our schedule right here. Coming up later on Speed Gaming 2 at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, we have a doubleheader, 2 races going on at once. We've got Adirondack Rick versus Jam Evil and Fred Coughlin versus TA909. That's going to be happening right here on Speed Gaming 2, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. Then later on Random Effects channel, we've got a couple of races that are going to be going back to back. 10 p.m. Eastern, we've got Cananophone versus Cantaloupe Me. And at 11 p.m. Eastern, 4-Eye Steven and RC Drones. So those are the vanilla Zelda no Up+A tournament races we have for you coming up later on this evening. So on behalf of our 2 runners, PanzerDave, Dan H., on behalf of Feasel and Speed Gaming 4, this is LZ Cards Fan 23 signing off. Have yourselves a great rest of your day, and we will see you again next time. So long, everybody.